All right, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another day of Saber Sims DFS office hours. It is Thursday, March 16th of 2023 here, looking ahead to another good show. Got a 5-game NBA slate tipping off later today, as well as an 11-game hockey slate. I know that golf teed off this morning. Good luck to all of you in weekend long, and round one showdown should be a fun tournament, definitely. So for those of you who are new here, welcome. My name is Andrew. I'm one of the coaches over here at SaberSim. It's a show where we go over how to use the SaberSim app, answer any and all DFS related questions that come in live in the YouTube chat or in the office hours channel in our Discord server. If you're not joined up in our Discord, there's a link in the description below to get joined up. Highly recommend it. As always, a lot of good DFS conversation happening over there each and every day. Get access to the NBA lineup alerts channels where you can see when sims are running, et cetera, et cetera. So good place to be at all times. But that being said, going to get the app pulled up here, and we are going to get rolling. Not too many questions in the Discord today. I see Grayson is here asking questions in the YouTube chat. Thank you, Grayson. I did have one follow-up question from yesterday. There was a question from Hiker Willie, and the question was, hey, Andrew, in NHL, is there a way to set a build rule to allow only D versus opposing goalies and not centers or wings? So I went back to the team to find an answer to this question, and there was indeed one. So I do have that rule here for you, Snowman. I'm sorry. Hello, Snowman. You caught my attention there. But Hiker Willie. So what you would do is you in the build screen, you would turn this allow skaters versus opposing goalies on to allow the D to be put in the lineup. But then you would go and set a lineup rule, and it would be a group rule, and it would be a automatic rule, and then you would use an if then rule. So you would you just click it, and then you change it to if then, and then what you say is if at least one, and then you would uncheck D. So you'd make sure it's just your centers and your wings here. And then you would say, then use exactly 0 on the opposing team. And then you would put a goalie. So this is going to allow defensemen to be against an opposing goalie, but it is not going to allow centers or wings to be against an opposing goalie. Really quickly, Travis Petty in the comments said, hey, Andrew, just wanted to stop by and say it was nice to meet you Saturday. Petty, dude, nice to meet you as well. Big congrats on the win. For those of you who don't know, Travis Petty won the DK NBA live final. Was an awesome event, and overtime definitely helped him out there. So it was cool to enjoy that victory, and got to witness it live. So what's up, man? Nice to see you. But getting back to this, Hiker Willie, this is exactly how you would do the rule. So, take a screenshot, use it. I did some back testing on this with Scott, myself, and in our back testing, this worked just exactly the way you wanted. So glad we were able to clear that one up, and we are going to keep it rolling here. So next question came in from Mike here. I think this is a good question. Mike said, hey, Andrew, love all the updates that have been happening lately with SaberSim. No question. My question is it worth aggregating projections, and which sport would benefit the most, if any? Thanks. So really good question, Mike. Frankly, I think that aggregating projections is still good. I think that, you get some like wisdom of the crowd knowledge. You get different inputs from different sources. Some sources are going to be higher on a certain player than others. We definitely do take our stands and trust our sims with some of the inputs that we have to the model. Definitely will be, what's the word I'm looking for? Differences at times. I think there was a lot of discussion yesterday about like Reggie Bullock. We were like kind of really like aggressive on his projection, and he ended up doing really well, right? So there's a lot of discussion in the NBA channel ahead of Slate Lock yesterday about Reggie Bullock, and he ended up doing really well, right? And was one of the like lower owned plays on Dallas yesterday, so that all worked well. I saw a lot of people had really good days yesterday. Shout out to Crafty Lefty technically chopping the $15 GPP. It was not a duped lineup. They just ended up with a same score. So Crafty had a 62K victory yesterday. Big shout out to him. He is always in the Discord, in the pro channel, helping out users, commenting on different things along the way there. So I think, getting back to the question, I think that aggregating projections still a good, viable strategy. I would continue to do that if that's part of your core process. All right. Key said Petty the GOAT. Yeah, dude, Petty is the GOAT for sure. Hiker Willie said, thank you, Andrew and Scott, too. Yep. No, anytime you guys have a question, I can't get an answer to it, I'm going to go back to my resources on the team, and we are going to get you guys a solid answer. Grayson said, Petty seems like a good dude, always showing love across the industry. Much love to you, Petty. Yep. Definitely was nice to meet him, and was a solid dude. So Grayson said, hopping over to the YouTube chat. Grayson said, what's up, Andrew? I'm loving SaberSim 2.0. How has it personally improved your process in NBA? I will say that, I basically stopped messing around with custom metrics, but I think before there was a lot of discussion about hey, should you be using Saber score? Should you be using a percentile? Because we didn't release percentiles very long ago. And then for a little while there, I was using 95th percentile, 99th percentile. Jordan came out with his custom metric video, and there was a lot of discussion around that, right? And I think that, for those of you guys who do not know Matt is a very competitive person. And when there is, discussion and questioning on different ways to do things, he is going to just go down the rabbit hole of back testing and doing contest sims and figuring out, how to improve something, how to be the best, and how to have the best metric. So I think Matt does take those things personally, and that just kind of speaks to the culture of the team and wanting to always put out the best product possible. So I think that, Matt accepted that challenge and went in and took a deep dive into Saber score and made all these adjustments. So I've kind of moved away from, should I be using Saber score? Should I use a percentile today? I used to do it on a slate by slate, depending on the slate size, make that determination. But I don't do that anymore. I really am sticking to the defaults here. I will say the only thing I do is if I'm playing yesterday, I played I had a ticket to the 222 on FanDuel, and I think that ownership is going to be a little better in those contests. So even if it's small slate 1K to 10K, ownership is going to be better. Users are going to be sharper. I might come in here and just use something a little more riskier with a metric that is geared toward a little more upside, a little more ownership fade in the negative weight there. So those are things that I'm doing there, but a little less thinking about that part along the way. All right, good question. Snowman said, nice big win, feel great. Yeah, definitely for Crafty and for Petty. But anyways, that is all the questions at the moment, everybody. If anybody has any questions, now's a great time to get them in. Something we've been doing is we've been pulling up the NBA injury report, looking at tonight's slate, just seeing what's going on while we wait for some questions to continue to roll in here. So I'm going to pull up the basketball news dashboard like we normally do. Looks like we're looking at a 5-game slate tonight. Right off the bat, we see all of these names over here on Indy and Milwaukee. This is one of the later games on the slate. I'm West Coast, so there's a 4, a 4:30, a 4:30, and a 5. So second to last game of the night. Over half the slate is going to lock before this game locks. We'll see what time the news comes out. But obviously, keep your eyes on this Pacers game here. Halliburton, Hield, McConnell, Turner. These are all big names here, right? Compared to Milwaukee, not as big names. I don't think you really need to worry about Jay Crowder or Goran Dragic. Brook Lopez obviously is probably one person you want to keep your eyes on. I think he didn't end up getting suspended, so that's kind of interesting there. Detroit continues to tank, but the sites have been really good with updating salaries. They've been pretty quick to react. Omorui was 3,700 a couple games ago. Now already priced up to 5,100. Rodney McGruder already priced up to 5K. Duran priced up to over 5K. Hampton's still kind of cheap, and he saw 27 minutes last game. But Jaden Ivey being back is gonna probably make him like a little less relevant there. So Jaden Ivey, they are getting one big piece back tonight. And then scrolling down here, not a lot of other like big names out tonight that haven't been out for some period of time. So big news is obviously going to be this Indy news, and then possibly Brooke Lopez sitting. I don't know who that helps. Maybe somebody like Bobby Portis or something like that. We can go over and look, but Brooke Lopez, maybe helps a guy like Bobby Portis. They don't really have any cheap kind of centers coming off the bench or anything like that. So maybe some extra uses for Giannis, maybe some extra uses for somebody like Bobby Portis, I think probably benefits most in that scenario. But that is basically the entire injury report today. I'm not too concerned about like Gary Harris over here. But yeah, so kind of a quick one. Those are the spots that I would consider keeping my eyes out on, making sure that news comes out. If you guys are in the Discord, we've been having some issues with getting the underdog tweets to show up in our NBA lineup alerts. So I would just keep your eyes probably on Basketball Monster News Dashboard, or if you have Twitter and you want to just like keep a screen up with the underdog tweets on there, I would do that as well. So definitely two ways to do that in the meantime there. But all right, everybody, might just be a nice, quick, short show today. We will be back tomorrow for our next show. If you guys are building lineups throughout the day, have questions, please throw them in the Office Hours channel while the ideas and concepts are fresh on your mind. That gives us a steady queue of questions to get rolling with as we start the show, as people start to tune in, start to get those DFS juices flowing there. But really quickly before we head out of here, Chuck posted a question, said, what do you think of my custom metric? So Chuck, I just kind of did like a little spiel on like custom metrics. I think the Saber Score metrics are really good. I think they've been back tested very thoroughly here. If you find enjoyment in building custom metrics and using them, I think that's totally okay. Or if you find that you get some extra value out of building your own for certain formats and different things like that, I think it makes sense. Frankly, I think that, you're kind of, so basically what this metric is it is weighting the sum adjusted owned to a -1 weight plus some ownership. I think you're like probably diluting some of the benefits of using adjusted ownership here. So basically like what adjusted ownership is doing, and this will give us like a good little segment here. So basically what adjusted ownership is doing, I think that NBA is probably a bad example. I think that NHL is a better example here. So let's go over to NHL. So what you're going to see here. So adjusted ownership is basically a metric that we created that describes how volatile individual players' projection is. And I think this Evander Kane one is a good example. So his ownership is 29%. So what we're saying is that, hey, when we go into our sim database and we look at Evander Kane, he does not get to this score very often, or he gets to a lesser score even more often. So what we're going to do is we are artificially going to inflate his ownership to basically hurt him in the lineup grading process. So the reason that the adjusted ownership is higher is because if we look at his range of outcomes here, so 19.26 is like somewhere in this like 11% range. And then the data is like skewed to the right here where there's like a big drop off, right? So all of these values, above the mean here, 10%, 8%, 7%, 5%, right? And then you look over here where the projection like is lower than the mean, 13%, 12%, 9%, 8%. So there's actually like a big chunk of sims where he scores less than his projection, but there is just this tail event where he's getting, a few sims at 50 points, a few sims at 40 points that are just really moving the mean, but the median is probably closer to under 19 in this scenario here. Just just thinking about it here. So what we are doing is we are interpreting that in this adjusted ownership column, and then basically saying, hey, when we go to grade his lineups, he is probably riskier than his projection, his mean projection here implies. So let's do something to take that into account. And then in the new SaberScore 2.0 formula, what we are doing is we are using that adjusted owned percent as opposed to the ownership percent in the formula. So it's a negative weight of 0.3 times average adjusted own. So we are assuming that we are using the adjusted own in our lineup sorting method. So that is like what is happening there. So I think that, this is like a big improvement, a good way to take into account volatility of players. I think that this is like really relevant in NBA, where you get a guy off the bench into a role where he is playing a lot more minutes, a lot more of like a focal point in the offense, but who is historically, even when he plays minutes, kind of like a role player, kind of like doing cardio. A lot of people like to say like, oh, the guy's just out there doing cardio, just running up and down the court, not shooting, not really getting any assists or rebounds, just kind of part of the offense. Maybe plays a role on the defensive side. Somebody that like comes to mind is probably somebody like Corey Joseph. Can play like a lot of minutes. Like he has had some decent games recently, but then he'll have games where he like plays 30 minutes and then hardly produces offensively. I've also seen like RJ Hampton do that as well. So those are just that's basically what adjusted ownership is trying to capture, and that's the best way we found to capture it at the moment. So I think it's an improvement. I wouldn't try to do some type of custom metric that includes adjusted ownership and ownership, because then you're just diluting the effects of adjusted ownership. And then Chuck said it looks like it naturally fades bad chalk. I mean, that's basically what you're trying to do, right? Is like fade bad chalk. So if you're doing testing with a metric and you are liking it, then, more power to you, dude. Respect. So I'm not doing that. I think that my time is, and the value I get from my time is better spent, researching injury situations and places where there are a lot of questionables and minutes are kind of in flux. But if that's your thing, dude, like keep going. So I understand it. All right, Chandre said, how do you create the tea time rule? Every time I create the rule, I get an unable to create lineup error. Okay, so let's go and see what we can do here. So we're going to go to golf. We're going to go back to the classic slate here just to kind of display this here. So let's say that there is value in the AM PM split. So we want to create a rule where we are playing at least 4 players from the morning wave here on day 1. And it looks like the time split is about 10 a.m. here. So what I would do is I would do add new rule. I would go to group. I would go to automatic. And then I'm going to say use at least 4. And then I'm going to do not check group by. That is an issue that sometimes comes up. Leave this unchecked. And then add requirement. You're going to go to tea time. You're going to go to before. And then you're going to go to 10:00 a.m. And then I'm going to save this as a manual rule so I can show you guys what this looks like. So then use 4 players where the tea time is before 10 a.m. And then I'm going to click this drop down. I can go into the rule and see what it looks like. So it is going to group all the players that have a tea time before 10 a.m., put them in one big group here. And then when I go to build my lineups, it is going to honor that rule. So I'm just going to run a build here so we can show it and then see what this looks like. It is possible that this, no. I'm wondering if like this was the issue that you're running into. If this is a bug, I'm going to have to take it back to the team and do some more testing on it. But okay. Oh, lineups are building. I think we're good here. So not sure about like the slow process there. But it looks like our lineups are building. So let's just like make sure they finalize, make sure that the rule is being honored. We'll do like a spot check and then make sure we're all set here. So loading lineups and lineups built. I'm going to make 2 changes to the projections here to make sure that this is all set. And we did build lineups. So what I can do here is I can hit this edit exposure columns, and then I can pull in any column from the home screen. So I'm just going to check in tea times here, and then it will come over here on the right, and then I can just bring it over to the side wherever I want it at. And then now I'm seeing tee times. So I think the easiest thing to do is like sort by tee times here and see like how many of these players you're getting. I wonder if I can do it here too. No, I can't. So I think it's like kind of hard to check this. You might need like 2 screens. So if you guys don't know, you can open up SaberSim in like multiple tabs. So what I would probably do here is I would open up a second tab with SaberSim and then just like have it on the home screen if you want to spot check it, right? So if you're looking to spot check, we could maybe just do like one lineup here. And then I guess I could do this way. Okay, so in my one lineup, I have 1 player, 2 players, 3 players, 4 players before 10 a.m. So like as like a quick spot check, that is correct there. But in order to like spot check that further, you know, maybe use 2 screens and like cross check. But it looks like the rules being honored, so that's all we were really looking to do there. If you click group by and you hit group by player, what that's going to do is that is going to create an individual rule for each player. So if you hit group by and then this player is checked, that is basically going to break the rule. So that would definitely stop you from building lineups. What it's going to say is it's going to create 70 different rules and say use each player at least once, and you can't have 70 players in a lineup, so that will break the rule. So it's possible that is what was happening to you, Chandra. So I would make sure that that is not the case. But all right, everybody, we will be right back here tomorrow for our Friday show. So until then, take care. Good luck. Post questions in the office hours channel ahead of time, and good luck in your contest tonight. I'll see you guys. Bye.